It was exactly 24 minutes ago when the K-pop world seemed to freeze in shock. Fans who were casually scrolling through their phones, sipping coffee, or chatting with friends suddenly found themselves staring at their screens, jaws dropping, hearts racing. The name, Jimin, began trending at lightning speed across every major social media platform. In just a matter of minutes, hashtags like #ProtectJimin and #Jungkook career exploded, not just in South Korea, but in nearly every corner of the globe. Something had happened, something big, something serious, and the ARMY, the fiercely loyal fandom of BTS, knew they had to act. But what exactly was going on? According to multiple eyewitness accounts and snippets of unverified clips circulating online, Jimin was reportedly seen leaving a building in Seoul earlier this morning with an expression that fans had rarely seen before: tense, cold, and almost devastated. Some claim the building was linked to an upcoming high-profile collaboration project, one that could have been a massive milestone for his solo career. But the mood was off. No waves to the fans, no polite smiles, not even a small nod to the cameras. Instead, Jimin walked briskly to a black van, surrounded by security, and disappeared into traffic. The moment was caught on shaky smartphone footage, and in less than half an hour, the internet was drowning in speculation. Then, like a lightning strike, another name began to trend alongside Jimin's: Jungkook. And this wasn't about a new single, a music award, or a charity project. No, this was darker. Words like career, danger, and setback started popping up in alarming tweets. For many ARMYs, it was unthinkable to even imagine Jungkook's career in jeopardy. He was, after all, the golden magne, the youngest member of BTS, who seemed unstoppable. But now, in real time, fans were being confronted with a flood of rumors that could potentially shatter that perfect image. One particularly viral thread claimed that an industry insider had leaked information about tensions between management, project collaborators, and certain members of the group. The thread hinted, without directly naming names, that an internal disagreement during the final stages of a major overseas project had left both Jimin and Jungkook caught in the middle. If the rumors were true, the fallout could be severe: canceled deals, delayed music releases, and a media storm unlike anything BTS had faced in years. Some fans immediately dismissed the claims as baseless gossip. Others, however, pointed out eerie coincidences. Just 2 days ago, Jungkook had suddenly gone silent on social media, canceling a planned livestream without explanation. At the time, ARMYs assumed he was simply busy or resting. But now, under the shadow of this breaking news, those cancellations looked more suspicious. Could it be connected? What made the situation even more alarming was the fact that both Jimin and Jungkook had been working on separate, highly anticipated solo projects set to release within months of each other. Industry analysts had been predicting that these releases could redefine the K-pop solo market in 2025, potentially breaking multiple records. Any disruption, especially something dramatic enough to cause visible distress, could derail months, even years of planning. By the 15th minute after the first clip surfaced, ARMY group chats were buzzing nonstop. Fans from Brazil to the Philippines were translating every single Korean post they could find, piecing together a timeline of events. One widely circulated theory suggested that Jimin had just attended an emergency meeting about Jungkook's situation, and that's why he appeared so tense leaving the building. Another theory, far more dramatic, claimed that a third party, possibly a high-ranking figure in the entertainment industry, had issued an ultimatum that could impact both of their careers simultaneously. Adding fuel to the fire, several entertainment journalists began posting cryptic messages. One reporter simply tweeted, "Today will be remembered," while another wrote, "2 stars, 1 storm." These vague statements only deepened the mystery and sent ARMYs into full investigation mode. Meanwhile, the mainstream media had yet to release an official statement, but news outlets were clearly preparing something. A popular K-pop news anchor teased on her Instagram story, "Biggest BTS update in months. Stay tuned for tonight's broadcast." Within seconds, ARMYs flooded her DMs, demanding answers. She didn't reply, and then came the audio leak. It was short, barely 20 seconds long, but it spread like wildfire. In the clip, a male voice, believed by some to be a BTS member, could be heard saying in Korean, "If this is true, everything changes. The authenticity of the audio has not been confirmed, but that didn't stop it from being replayed millions of times within an hour. The tone of the voice was heavy, almost defeated, and the words were chilling. Everything changes. What did that mean? Was it about a contract? A personal scandal? Something worse? By the time the 24th minute hit, the internet was a battlefield of emotions. Fear, anger, confusion, and fierce loyalty. Some fans began organizing hashtags to show support, flooding timelines with messages like "We trust Jimin" and "Jungkook forever." Others, however, took a more skeptical stance, urging the fandom to wait for official confirmation before jumping to conclusions. But in a world where perception can shift in a heartbeat, waiting often feels like losing control. In one of the more emotional posts of the morning, a longtime fan from Indonesia wrote, "I have followed BTS since debut. I know Jimin's smile and I know Jungkook's determination. Whatever is happening, we stand with them until the end. No rumor can destroy what they've built." The tweet quickly gained over 200,000 likes and became a rallying cry for ARMYs worldwide. As of now, no official statements have been released by Big Hit Music or HYBE. But one thing is clear, the next few hours could determine the direction of both Jimin's and Jungkook's careers. And if the whispers are true, this is only the beginning of a storm that could shake the K-pop industry to its core. The question remains, what happened behind those closed doors in Seoul this morning? And more importantly, why are two of the most beloved idols in the world caught in the center of it all? The minutes that followed felt like hours to the global ARMY. It was as if the entire fandom was collectively holding its breath, waiting, no, begging, for someone to step forward with clarity. But clarity never came. Instead, the chaos deepened. An anonymous account, claiming to be an industry staff member, posted a long thread on X, suggesting that Jimin's tense departure from the Seoul building was directly related to an irreversible decision involving Jungkook's upcoming international contract. The post was vague, sprinkled with enough uncertainty to avoid legal trouble, but it was enough to send the fandom spiraling. Some translations of the thread hinted at disputes between overseas producers and HYBE executives, with Jungkook allegedly caught in the crossfire. Others took it a step further, claiming Jimin had been dragged into the issue because of his close friendship with Jungkook and his potential involvement in the same project. The thought of one BTS member suffering because of another's struggle was unbearable for many fans. ARMY pride has always been about unity, and now it felt like someone was trying to tear that unity apart. Then came the photographs. Grainy, zoomed-in images taken from across the street showed Jimin sitting inside the black van, his head tilted downward, his hand covering part of his face. Some fans swore they saw the glint of tears in his eyes. The photo became the centerpiece of dozens of emotional tweets, with captions like, "Who made him cry?" and "ARMY, we must protect our boys." In another image, a visibly tense Jungkook was spotted entering a private building the night before, dressed in all black and surrounded by two unfamiliar bodyguards. Where were the usual staff? Why were new security personnel suddenly involved? The details only fueled the growing mystery. By now, mainstream Korean news outlets had started their coverage, but instead of providing answers, they seemed to be dancing around the topic. Unconfirmed developments regarding BTS members Jimin and Jungkook. One anchor reported, her tone deliberately careful. Fans worldwide are expressing concern following unexpected sightings earlier today. More updates to follow. The lack of direct information frustrated the fandom even more. International media outlets soon joined in. Rolling Stone Korea posted a cryptic Instagram story showing just a black and white photo of a microphone with the caption, "Tonight's headlines will surprise you." Billboard tweeted, "A developing situation involving two BTS members has fans in suspense." None of these posts offered facts, but they kept the tension alive, as if the entire music industry was watching and waiting for the same answer the fans were desperate to hear. Meanwhile, ARMY's reaction had split into two very distinct camps. On one side were the emotional protectors, those flooding timelines with love, support, and reminders of the group's resilience. On the other were the restless investigators, fans digging through old interviews, live streams, and behind-the-scenes clips searching for clues. Some pointed to a moment from last week's fan event when Jungkook appeared distracted and uncharacteristically quiet. Others analyzed a recent social media post from Jimin, in which he had shared only a black heart emoji with no caption. Could these have been silent warnings? The emotional protectors and restless investigators didn't always see eye to eye. Heated debates broke out in comment sections and fan forums. "Stop spreading baseless rumors," one side shouted. "We deserve to know the truth," the other argued. The tension within the fandom mirrored the tension surrounding the idols themselves, unresolved, raw, and impossible to ignore. As night fell in Seoul, the city lights reflected off the glass facade of the HYBE building, where fans had begun to gather in person. Holding banners, LED boards, and flowers, they stood quietly in the chilly evening air. Some live-streamed from their phones, showing the world that ARMY's physical presence was there, right at the company's doorstep. "We'll stay until we get answers," one fan declared on camera. Thousands of viewers tuned into the stream, commenting in multiple languages, their words flying across the screen like a global chorus. Inside the online world, things were reaching fever pitch. Several high-profile K-pop YouTubers went live simultaneously, dissecting every piece of available footage, cross-referencing timestamps, and interviewing so-called insiders who claimed to have been in the same building as Jimin earlier that day. One claimed the meeting was full of tension, voices were raised, and a decision was made that nobody wanted. Another went as far as saying, this could change BTS's future forever. The phrase echoed eerily similar to the leaked audio clip from earlier. If this is true, everything changes. Could the two be connected? By midnight, the hashtags had evolved. Hashtag We Stand With Jimin and hashtag Protect Jungkook were now joined by hashtag Tell Us The Truth, which trended at #1 globally. The demand was no longer just for comfort, it was for transparency. Fans wanted to hear directly from the source, to cut through the speculation and endless waves of maybe and what if, but still silence. And then, without warning, a single post appeared on Jungkook's official account. It was a photo, just a photo, of a dimly lit recording studio. No caption, no hashtags, no explanation. The image showed a lone microphone, a sheet of handwritten lyrics, and a cup of coffee. Fans zoomed in on the lyrics, but the resolution was too low to make out the words. Was this his way of saying he was still working? Or was it a cryptic signal to those who knew the real story? Within minutes, the photo had over 5 million likes, but it provided no answers, only more questions. Jimin, meanwhile, remained completely silent online. His last post was days ago, and his absence felt heavier with each passing hour. The ARMY's worry turned into something deeper, a gnawing fear that whatever was happening might not be resolved quickly. And that's where the story leaves us tonight. 2 global superstars, 1 mysterious incident, and millions of hearts caught in limbo. What really happened in that meeting? Is Jungkook's career truly in danger? Is Jimin carrying a burden he can't share yet? One thing is certain, this is not the end. In fact, it might just be the calm before the storm. The next move, whether from the idols themselves, their management, or the media, could change everything. And until that moment comes, the world will keep watching, refreshing timelines, and waiting for the truth to break free.